Hey guys, welcome to the Launchpad Podcast. Today we're doing some fun stuff. Before we get started, you guys know the deal. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at LaunchpadPod, and our website, launchpadpod.com. Matt, it's been a minute. We haven't seen each other for a while. We're recording this the day after Mother's Day. It went pretty well. I had a good Mother's Day. She didn't cry, so, it's all good. It's like,
hey, step one, right?
Yeah, step one. I mean, there's a lot
some
of
relationships,
pressure.
that's the best you can ask for.
Well, I'm just saying, there's a lot of pressure on that first Mother's Day. Like, you have the baby for the first time, and everybody's like, what are you doing for Mother's Day? And I was like, oh, I have to pull this off. Land it, like Carrie Scruggs in that freaking, like, Russian, America beats Russia. I'm making an Olympic gymnastics reference here. Roll with me.
Definitely, our audience is on board. They're like, I know exactly what you mean.
Just like when Bella Caroli carried her off in his arms. Tens all around.
Well, if you know that Mother's Day went well, if you still have a wife and you still have a baby and you guys are all still in the same spot like that's how you know that you nailed Mother's Day. That's how you know you passed Mother's Day, I guess. I
passed. I think I passed. And I think I passed pretty well because damn, the stakes are good. So, I mean, it's all
okay.
You had a shout out, Rumi. Tell me about this shout out you wanted to do.
Yeah, dude. So, a while ago, I was looking up eBay original Predator art.
Yeah.
And this awesome, really cool fucking sketch card artist came out on eBay. A guy in the UK, and his name is James_Lee, LEE_artist. Check him out on Instagram. His shit is fantastic. The one that I saw, I don't know, third or fourth, was this bitchin' IG88, which
Matt's holding it up right now. For those watching on the YouTube,
if you guys haven't seen it,
that's cool.
It's pretty cool, and it's IG88, not IG11. I just thought it was such a cool card, and I started to look more because I saw one of his Predators first. Then I saw this bitchin' alien. I got this bitchin' alien.
Whoa,
and I also wrote him, was like, do you do commissions? He's like, yeah, I think I could do a commission. What's up? I got my two favorite Predator images ever, which is Predator Big Game cover number 1 and Predator Big Game cover number 2. This is my favorite Predator image ever. But really, all awesome. Of these,
don't you own that picture?
Gorgeous, right? And it's this.
Don't you own the original?
I wish I almost did. I bid on it. It went for like $3 and change, but it was right when I was buying my Frank Miller, and I was trying to hold it for the big gun for the Frank Miller. I don't want to say I regret it, but a little bit. But I just did get a Chris Warner original series Aliens vs. Predator page. So
that's amazing.
I'm psyched about that. Yeah. So, but all these cards are awesome. James Lee artist on Instagram from UK. His shit is fucking dynamite. But the image that came up for the very first time when I searched original Predator art on eBay and I saw his first thing, it was something that just spoke to me, and not for myself, but from my brother from another rocket ship, Rumi. I was like, I need to get him one. And this is the image. Rumi, you can hold it up. This is the image that I saw first. Well, Rumi is holding up. This is not the one I saw first. This is the one I saw later. It's a bitchin' Predator from Predator 1 with a wrist gauntlet. It's like photorealistic. It looks great. He uses paint markers, I believe. But that was an afterthought. The one that I saw first that made me immediately be like, I gotta get this for Rumi. And
I don't know if I can show this on YouTube, my dude.
Can you Greek it out a little bit? Can you make it a little bit more PG?
Okay, maybe I'll just show a little bit of it. Let's just say this,
like a little striptease.
There you can see her Predator face. Boop. Oh, she's looking sexy. Let's just put it this way. This Yautja, let's put it this way. All right, Launchpad Podcast bringing you the Yautja that'll make you say, oucha, it's Darlene. This is the sexiest Predator this side of this planet. She brought 3 friends with her. I had to put tape over the plastic wrap because let's put it
YouTube would
gently.
flag their Predator boobs.
Yeah, these Predators have Tigo bitties, I think is the technical term.
And one of them is not nude, right? She's holding her boob, she's holding her nipples at least.
She's doing a Janet Jackson for sure. Yeah.
then there's like some good boobage on one, and they have like see-through netting, like, but in a sexy way. One of them has like an alien tongue necklace, right, hanging from her neck, if I remember correctly.
Boop, there it is.
There was. You guys, if you haven't checked out our YouTube yet, this is the episode to do it, because I saw these nude female predators and immediately was like, how many are you selling? I'll take all. I think there was one in a bathing suit that I didn't get because it wasn't as hot as the rest. And there was one that was spread eagle, and I don't think it showed genitalia, but it still was a little bit too much. I was like, this isn't as funny as just the boobs. So, and I wrote to him and I was like, I need all these awesome ones, and I also need these fucking creepy, sexy ones for my buddy. And he was like, a dude contracted me for like 30 of them, and then he couldn't pay for all of them. So he's like, I'll sell you a bunch of them because I'm stuck with them. I was like, well, great. My roomie will love these.
Yeah, they came in a package with a little tiny predator, which was cool. And my wife saw the little tiny predator, and then she saw the baseball cards, and she was like, what did you buy? And I was like, I didn't buy them. Matt bought them for me. And she's like, I don't know if that's worse. So she immediately took a picture, and I posed the little tiny predator like a Burt Reynolds in Playboy. Like he's like leaning on his hand, all sexy like. He's like, hey, what's up? What's up, ladies? And she sent it immediately to Matt's wife, Amanda. I was like, what did your husband send mine? And she's like, they're not okay. It's like, but she laughed, so I think it's okay.
Well, check out James Lee Artist stuff. And like, if you look on his Instagram, it's got tons of photos. He does a ton of Star Wars, a ton of Aliens, a ton of Predator, and they're all really, really gorgeous.
Yeah, he's doing a big Star Wars kick right now. He's doing the Bad Batch and stuff like that.
It's just, he really does some really neat stuff. But if you're interested in the rest of the series of these sexy ass predators, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least a dozen. I only got maybe 3. If
you commission them and can't pay, they end up in my hands. Who knows?
He was super cool. He worked in the UK. He banged out these commissions quick for me, and he sent them all pretty reasonable, like actually very reasonably priced, and they got here fast. He thought there was going to be a lot longer, but cool guy doing some cool art. Check him out. Like, honestly, I would and almost certainly will commission him in the future for some bigger pieces, because it's awesome. Check it out. See his stuff.
Yeah, for sure. He's a great artist.
If you see some erotic sci-fi shit, please buy it for me.
Please buy it.
I will give you his home address if you agree to send him stuff that will make his wife's eyebrows raise.
Sexy RoboCop is going to be too much. Oh my God. Let's get on with the show.
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Winkety wink, 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 wink. I'd buy that for $1.
He lives in the UK though. I'd buy that for £1.
It's more than £1 for sure.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right. Welcome to the Launchpad Podcast. I'm Aaron.
I'm Matt.
Matt, we're doing it live today. I told you this before we started. Today is live as fuck, my bro, because I've been so busy with work and baby and all sorts of stuff. So, like, we're a little under the gun. Like, I'm sweating bullets right now, probably because I'm looking at these sexy oucha, but still, like, I'm sweating bullets over like this whole live aspect that we're doing. So, like, I might not be able to edit any of this out. Who knows? This might be it. You know, if it cuts out right now, this is all you're getting.
So you want me to be like super offensive and have a lot of technical issues is what you're saying, right?
What's that, Matt? You froze.
Point out every glitch. Yeah, you mispronounced the word froze. Hit a mark. Do that
again. But Matt, today we're talking about some more of that box set we got. We talked a little bit about Gamera earlier in a previous episode, but today we're going to talk about more Gamera because I am in love with this flying turtle. as cheesy as he is, his like Heisei era is some of the best kaiju movies I have ever seen, hands down.
And that's not, I don't know. It's hard for me to say some of the best, but it is so good. It really, really is cool. And the Heisei era is such a good era to look at, you know, because the filmmaking quality is there, the sophistication of not only the shooting and the you know the making of a movie, but the special effects, the suits. Yep. They're so friggin' good at that point. But they're fun. They're awesome.
Would you say that the kaiju action is some of the best that's ever been on screen? Maybe not the movie itself.
I think so.
Like, I could understand if somebody wanted to argue that Godzilla vs. Destroyer is a better movie than any of these Heisei movies. That's fine. I'm not going to, I could put in an argument for that, but overall, I get that concept. But as far as like what they were able to do with miniatures and suitmation, guy in a suit action, I was blown away by these movies.
I've been watching a lot of Godzilla with Kent, with my kid, and like just the fight scenes essentially. And you know, I'm not, and Showa era. I'm only watching Showa era, so it's really not a great comparison.
Yeah.
But it's very straightforward, right? You have the blah, blah, blah stuff with the humans, and then when you get into a fight, it's big third-person action, you know, a third-person wide camera, getting the two monsters smashing through cities or deserts or whatever it is. But
big
it's very like formulaic.
Backdrop, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. But again, Showa era versus Heisei era. But still, it's fun, but it's a certain level of, I guess, lack of sophistication that it almost makes it more enjoyable. It's almost like watching Shitty Movie Sunday. You're not watching Shitty Movie Sunday for the same reasons you're watching Silence of the Lambs, right? Yeah. When you watch the Gamera Heisei era, it's really like the camera angles, the shots are really well thought out. The action is well thought out. The miniatures are definitely way better than the Showa era, and the Showa era I love. You can see the age on it, but I love it. But these are awesome, and this is one of those things that I think you and I are so often on the same page, and we have such like the same, our fingers on the same nerd pulse. But Gamera is something that I almost definitely would have never touched by myself. But the fact that you were like, "Hey, these are awesome," they were on my radar, and then you just sent me a box set. I was like, "Well, I have to fucking watch them now." Like, if for nothing, out of love for you and appreciation for you sending me the set. But I'm so glad you did, because these are awesome. We talked a couple episodes ago. We talked about the first Heisei Gamera and the second Heisei Gamera. Today, we want to focus a little bit more on 3 and 4, right?
Right. And technically, there's a trilogy: Gamera, Guardian of the Universe; Gamera, Attack of Legion; and Gamera, Rise of Revenge of Isis; and
Gamera 3, Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time. And then Gamera 4, it technically isn't Gamera 4, it's a new one. It's called Gamera the Brave.
Sure.
And it's a reboot. Reboot.
Interesting. Yeah.
So we watched them, and Gamera 3, the end of the Heisei era trilogy, I was so impressed with because of the monster fighting and the story. Actually, I was actually interested in it. It's typical kaiju movie human bullshit. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat that this isn't a whole lot of bullshit. There is a ton of moments where you're like, really, we're going to follow these assholes to find out what they care about? Because I don't. But it did something. It did something that did make me care. A little bit, like the Grinch, that little like X-ray comes in, my little heart grows 3 times bigger. They had a girl who was doing like the brooding Batman thing way before Batman versus Superman. She was like, I hate Gamera. And everybody's like, Gamera, he's a friend of the children. We love Gamera. And she's like, I hate him. And they're like, why?
What do you mean, man?
Yeah. Everybody's like, what? Gamera's dope. Not down with Gamera? And she's like, no, not my jam. And they're like, what are you talking about? And she's like, Gamera killed my parents. And they keep going to these flashbacks of like a demon Gamera smashing through her apartment building. And she knows her parents are inside and they are crushed. They're dead. And so now she's like left to take care of her little brother and has this like burning rage for Gamera. And she basically finds this like protector spirit in a cave in the woods. And it turns into this like soul sucking demon that turns into a giant kaiju monster and starts fucking shit up royally, destroying things. It's wild. And she has a connection with Iris. And there's the girl from the trilogy who has the connection with Gamera, like a little psychic like thing going on. And they all have to come together and try and figure out how to
They each
stop
have
it.
matching necklaces, right?
Yeah,
They each have little matching necklaces for their own kaiju.
It's great. It's so good. And, there's a bunch of goofy characters. There's like the weird, like ambiguously gay villain who's like giggling in the corner. He reminded me of that guy from Big Lebowski that's in Julianne Moore's apartment who's just like, just laughing the whole time. And you're like, well, who is this guy? He's like a computer programmer.
It was wacky enough. Like, I didn't like it, but it was wacky enough for me. Like, okay, it's almost like the humans in Final Wars, Godzilla Final Wars. I'm like, totally unnecessary. I don't care about any of these people. It's way over the top. It feels like a video game. I love this movie. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, you're just throwing this extra shit into the pot. I'm on board for it. I don't get it, but I'm on board for it.
Exactly. And every time I cut back to it, there was something that you're like, well, okay. But then the kaiju fights were bloody. Like,
yeah. Well, it starts off, the first fight you see is like an older looking, beaten up, one tusk broken Gamera. And he's trying to hold his own against multiple Gatos. Is that what they're called?
Gaios.
The little bird things. And he's dropping them, but they're dropping him. And he ends up taking a digger and they all converge on him and they're fucking eating him. And he dies and he blows himself up. He has predator nuclear capability.
That's Gamera the Brave. You're thinking about the wrong movie.
Are you sure?
100%, because I'm looking at my notes for Gamera the Brave.
Oh, never mind. Well, edit that out, Room.
We can
this
get it.
is
Wait,
how does
what
this
if
one
we just
start?
What if we just start meshing it all together? So it's like people don't even know. Is it Gamera the Brave?
Yeah, you guys don't know. Are you guys, does anyone? Hey, write us. Tell us the truth. Do you guys fact check what we say, or just like take it for granted?
Well,
and listen to our great.
I
jokes
have
and
more to
sexy
say about.
voices.
Yeah, I have more to say about.
Well, then let's stay on Iris, because Iris is. Well, I know Iris for sure. The last fight is fucking
brutal.
Awesome.
So what happens to Gamera in the last fight? They're in like a train station, right? Smashing shit up.
And there's people next to them watching, and there's the human drama. And Iris, who is the evil, or the antagonistic kaiju, impales one of Gamera's arms to like the wall.
Yeah.
And Gamera can't get up.
Yeah.
Right. And she's, I think Iris is going to blast him with some sort of like kill you ray. So he's trying to get out, and it's been a gnarly fight with a lot of impalements and stabbings until
Lots
that point.
Of blood.
Gamera looks down at his arm and just fireball, like he's got a fireball attack, like Godzilla's radioactive breath, and he just blows fire on his own arm and burns, his arm apart, so his hand is stuck to the wall and he can get out. It's fucking awesome.
One arm ripped off, bleeding everywhere. And they're fighting inside this train station that's huge, and it's a gorgeous miniature set. And what's really awesome is we got to see the actual set, like earlier in the film. The humans are there, and you're like, this place is gorgeous. Hope it doesn't get smashed by a giant turtle. And the recreation, like what it takes to recreate a building architecture that faithfully, blew my mind. I was so impressed with how good the miniature looked in comparison to the real building that we had seen. And they're fighting inside of this train station, this giant train station. And Iris is fucking him up. He's fucking up Iris. She's about to hit him again with another beam. And he takes his fucking stump and impales her with it. And you're just like, holy
There's a lot of stabby in that fight. Yeah. A lot of blood shooting out. It's pretty hardcore. I like the Iris design is pretty cool. I think she looks very similar to a lot of like Evangelion type of Gundam type suits, kind of like those like weird wings / vents coming off her back and everything.
A lot of tentacles.
Fly. Yeah, a lot of tentacles all over the place. It's fun though, and going back to what you said about the miniatures, I have to rewatch a lot of Godzilla Heisei to see if this carries through. But one thing I've noticed in these movies, as opposed to Showa era stuff, is a lot of times they establish and play around on the miniatures before they get smashed. And if you think about it, when you establish a miniature set and show some shit happening there first, that's not destruction. If you do it right and shoot it right, your brain, the audience's brain, gets tricked into thinking that is the real thing. When you see it smashed, it looks real. Like you don't realize, oh, that's a miniature of something I've seen earlier, because what you saw earlier was also the miniature. So it doesn't. Your brain doesn't have that cut mark in its mind. You know where I learned that trick first? Gumby. Good guess, but Friday the 13th. Gumby 4, the Brave. Where?
Friday the 13th with the axe kill. I saw like Tom Savini explain why that works on like a behind the scenes documentary. He's like, I show a real axe, hit a lamp and break it. And that tells your brain that that's real. So then when I put the fake axe in the lady's face, you're like, oh, that was a real axe. But it's like, show it real first, make them think it's real first. So then when it's fake, you don't question it as fast.
And that's part of what we keep saying, at least I keep saying the word sophistication of these movies, right? The Hasty era is, it's not as simple as just throwing two guys in monster suits and letting them fight in a fake city. That's fine. And that's fine for show era stuff. But this is like filmmaking where they really are trying to craft a story, right? They really are trying to, and I guess in this case, the Hasty era versus the Showa era, we're starting to see the technology such that you can have live action actors composited it into a miniature scene pretty convincingly, pretty good.
It's amazing. I honestly don't remember how he defeats Iris, because at the end of the movie, they're like, 1,000 Gaios are coming, like mutant birds are coming to destroy Japan. What are we going to do? And they're like, hope Gamera's on our side. And that's the end of the movie. It just shows him being like, with his one arm, and everybody's like, Gamera! And you're like, wait, what? And I kept rewinding, be like, are we not going to get to see him fight these 1,000 Gaios? Come on, what? But that's the end, because it just makes you want to like either cheer for him, see more. I guess it's a tactic, but I was like, wait, what? Because I really expected there to be a definitive ending, and they leave it on kind of a giant cliffhanger. It was wild.
And it's one of those, I guess, like Godzilla rebooted itself and thought it was dying or thought it was the end of the franchise so many times.
Yeah.
I guess like every fucking franchise, right? But there were so many where they're like, this is the last one, and then it wasn't. Or this is the last one, at least until the next era of movies where they're like, well, forget about these 15, but these 15 keep in mind for the next one.
Remember this one, the third one, the fifth, and every odd even one, especially when it's a full moon. And you're like, wait, what?
That's like how I used to collect comic series. I'd have like number 1, number 3, number 5, number 6, 7, 8, number 12. And you're just like, I get the gist of what's happening to these characters, you know?
The Godzilla franchise is so full of weird retcon of like what timeline to follow. And I feel like Gamera rebooted itself. It did the 3 movies. It did them great. It left it open at the end to be like, he'll be a friend to the children and fight for Japan forever. Yay, everybody's happy. A couple years later, 2006, they're like, let's reboot that shit. I was like, why? Why? It was so good. Why not keep a good thing going? They're like, because we love this friend to the children thing. Someone is obsessed with Gamera being a friend to all children. So they just want this like cutesy shit. And boy, they came with the cutesy shit. I don't hate this movie though, but it certainly, after I was watching 3 badass, incredible, like top-notch, top-of-the-game kaiju movies, this one did not hold up compared to the other ones. It's not a bad movie, and honestly, the kaiju effects in it, awesome. Really,
it's
really,
my favorite villain
good.
of at least this era of Gamera, for sure. It's this cool I mean, it's a very stereotypical looking dragon, like Asian influenced dragon, but it looks fucking awesome.
Zeus.
I didn't really like Iris looks kind of cool, and Legion looks pretty cool, and not to slam it, but it's very manga and anime like influenced design. Like it looks very much from that world, which is not anything that I've never really cared about. I like my kaiju more traditional. This is definitely more of that, and I loved it for that. Yeah. Going into this one, you told me that Gamera the Brave was the kid one. It was the one for kids. So I went in with that mentality. Now, I don't know if you hadn't said it, if I would have come away from the movie with a different feeling, but I don't disagree with you that it is a movie for the kids. But there are some fucking brutal things that happen in this movie that contradict that statement so hard that it's almost like when you watch a movie and you're like, who was the target demo here? Or you're like, what was the tone that they were going for? Did they think this was for children? Did they think this was for families? Did they think this was for people, but like grown-up people, but acknowledging the children aspect of it? Because there's a ton of stupid bullshit children shit. But there's also the evil kaiju monster eats a ton of people directly in front of a child, to the point where you think the child got eaten too, and it's revealed that he crawled into a crevice and watched it happen.
He's covered in their blood.
Yes,
when they pull
and
him
I believe
out of the
some
rubble.
of them were related to him. They were
Yes.
his family, right?
Covered in their blood. You see Zetas chewing into a crowd of people. Like they're trapped in rubble, and he starts chewing into the rubble, and he throws a body up in the air and chomps it in midair.
Yes.
What?
That's
So let me kick this off for you. It opens with a whole bunch of like, it's the Great Hut Burning of 72, and all these like huts are burning down, and they're really burying the lead. You're like, I hope this is kaiju related and not something that's like I'm gonna feel bad laughing at. But it's this little kid witnessing Gamera fighting a bunch of Gaios, and he like self-destructs, like you said.
Like I said, that's the one I said before. He's missing a tusk. Like when he's a turtle with tusks. One of the tusks is broken. Some of his shell is broken, and I was like, I got on board fast. I was like, this is the coolest Gamera suit of all of them, and they've been pretty good suits. And I was like, this is awesome. But
and then he explodes, and
he starts to get
like,
his ass kicked, and they're eating him, and he blows himself up and blows up. And they're like, oh, he sacrificed himself. Hope we don't have any more trouble because we're now without Gameras.
Rumi, they don't go, oh, he sacrificed himself. They go, Gamera sacrificed himself for all of us.
They do, yeah. They're yelling and singing in the streets. I would be like, there's been a lot of giant monster bullshit happening the last decade or two.
Yeah, right?
I hope that was the end of it. Like, we just used our last like ace in the hole, you know?
It's like, where do we put in for another Gamera? I don't think we get like redos on that. Do we get a coupon that we're like, can we redeem this for another Gamera, please?
Like the next giant monster that comes out, they're like, oh, I hope he's good. I hope he's a friend of children.
But then the movie like shows that the little boy watching is now grown up. He has a son of his own, and they're visiting the mother's grave 5 minutes into the movie. And the kid has an inner monologue. And this movie comes with some heavy fucking death ideas. He goes, my mom's not in heaven. She's in a box of ashes buried underneath this little hut. Whoa.
And that's so now, like, I'm like, I just watched Gamera get eaten and then blow himself up. And now this kid is talking about how he does not believe in the concept of heaven. And then he knows his mom's earthly remains are all that is left buried in this hut. And you're like, this is for children?
So nihilistic. Like, can you imagine being, like you said, if it's for kids, the kids have a lot of questions. If it's for families, the parents are like, better make a mental note. Got to talk to my kid about death after this movie. All right, Gamera, what do you got? So, like, 7 minutes in, this kid looks off to the distance where Gamera blew himself up. There's like an island there now, and it's like 7 minutes into the movie, there's a blinky thing out there. And I'm like, better go investigate that shit, kid. And the kid's like, no, I'm going to wait 20 more minutes. We find out that the Monster Council is disbanded. Smooth move, bros.
That's a council of humans to talk about monsters, not a council of monsters, right?
Yeah, it's called
I'd
the
watch
Monster
that
Council.
movie.
Yeah. Ooh, Justice League. # release the Gamera cut.
I have a great Justice League idea. Remind me later. It's really
okay.
Batman, but I'll tell you.
So the Monster Council disbanded, which I guess they were the ones who dealt with the giant monsters. We see these kids like playing in the water, and they're playing like a classic children's game called Yank Your Friend's Pants Off.
I noticed that too. The Japanese children in these movies have a lot of interesting pant situations.
They're either too short, not on at all.
Trying to rip
The kid's name is Toro, and he's like, I don't have a bathing suit. And they're like, it's okay, take your pants off. Take his pants off. And they're trying to rip his pants off. And some kid says something that's basically a your mom joke. He's like, your mom's going to take your pants off. Mm-hmm. And he's like, my mom's dead. And they're all like, oh. He's like, oh, I'm just screwing with you. Yanking this other kid's pants off. And they're like, wow.
Which, like, okay, that's kind of how kids are stupid and all over the fucking place. I love it.
So, like, 11 minutes into the movie, we get 100% more ghost moms than I was expecting from this movie. The kid's hallucinating.
Camera 4, the brave ghost mom.
Ghost mom. He's got a little neighbor girl, and she's a flirt. But they hint that she's sick in a plot line I do not give a shit about. They're like, oh, I hope her heart surgery goes okay. And you're like, oh my God, are we going to have to give a shit about her heart surgery this whole movie? Sure thing. Oh my God. So then like 15 minutes in.
Are you okay that I'm letting you do all the heavy lifting? Because I'm just listening to you and laughing. Like, I'm not really, I'll just agree with you. That's right, guys. What he said is true.
I'll hit a mark. So he sees that shiny thing again 15 minutes in. And at this point, I'm like, you have to go get that kid. And he's like looking at it really hard. He's like, And I'm like, dude, this movie's not budging another inch if you don't get that thing. I don't know. Should I go get that thing? And I'm screaming at the TV, go get that fucking shit. You get in that cold water. I don't give a shit. Take your pants off. Swim out there naked. Suddenly it cuts to him getting the thing that's been glowing out there. And it's this little like glowing rock. And sitting on the glowing rock is a little turtle egg. And a turtle pops out. And you're like, yay. And he's like, cool, I got a turtle pet. He's not allowed to have pets because his dad owns a restaurant and he needs to focus on work and not have pets. Which is weird. But
that's like Revenge of the Sith level shitty writing.
Yeah.
Like, wait, you can't have a pet because you own a restaurant? Okay. Like George Lucas was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I buy it. George Lucas is like, let me get my pencil.
She's a senator. She can't love anybody and he can't. Senators can't love and restaurant owners can't have pets.
I guess.
Okay.
Like, even if the kid was like, because turtle soup is on the menu, like I would have gotten that.
Right. You got to give me one more sentence. Racist against turtles.
Racist against turtles. So
can't cut it out, Rumi. This is live.
I'll hit a mark.
We just lost all of our turtle audience.
Michelangelo,
as well as restaurant owners.
Bummer, dude.
Yeah.
So while the kid's getting Gamera, this little baby turtle, which he's named Toto, the dad is talking to Heart Surgery Girl's dad, and we get a whole lesson on how Gamera saved the small fishing town economy with mystical red pearls. And it's like, when he self-destructed, that's what he was thinking about. He's like, I hope I save this economy of this little fishing town. Like, what? I do not need 5 minutes of this shit.
If you ever played the Gamera video game, that's the secondary attack. You have the Predator wrist gauntlet bomb, and then the secondary attack is an economy boost. Red Pearl economy boost.
It's like I've never really thought of like kaiju movies and how they like affect the economy until I saw Shin Godzilla. And they did it wrong.
I was gonna say, well, my friend, I have a movie for you.
So the kid's hiding Toto. And with most, like, especially in the Showa era Gamera films, the kids in Gamera movies say his name a lot. They're like, Gamera, 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 the whole time. I hate movies that use somebody's proper name way too often. Like, in our conversation, I'm never like, Matt. It's like, fucking, Lost Boys, Michael. They're noodles, Michael. They're worms, Michael. And you're just like, God damn it. Way too many times. Nobody says other people's names that
This has
often.
to be an episode where we say too many people's names too much.
Okay.
Or too many characters.
Well, this movie...
Okay, Rumi, is that okay? Rumi, you want to do that, Rumi?
I'm okay with that, Matt. So, they don't know that they have a Gamera yet, so they keep calling it Toto, and the whole movie, they're like, Toto, 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 and you're like, wait, am I watching Gamera the Brave or Toto the Gamera? I don't know.
Toto the regular turtle.
Toto, well, he's not a regular turtle because he has some like hijinks. He can fly. He's like, boing, boing, boing. And so like
in a very fun Transformer-esque scene, right, where the dad is talking and it's flying around his head and it flies from her to him and he catches it. Yeah. Right?
And like it's like zipping around and tripping him. A knife falls on the floor and he looks at it sideways because it's like a visual like nod to Gurion, the big knife head monster that he fights in another movie.
In the Showa eras, right?
In the Showa era, yeah. There's that big knife head monster, and it's like boom, and the knife obviously looks like that monster. But basically, the kid's like, I can't handle all this responsibility of a flying turtle. So we get the forbidden pet
So he flushes it.
And Master Splinter raised him. Down, Teenage Mutant Ninja Gamera's teen. No. He doesn't. He takes it to the beach, and we have what I found out today is called the shoe the dog moment. Now, I could not figure this out. I was like, what is it called in a movie when a kid's like, get out of here.
I don't love you. Yeah.
Yeah. And Kate was like, I'll find it immediately. Click, 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 click. It's called shoe the dog. She knew how to internet like,
she just said that to shut you up. She just pretended she was looking at like fucking, like body soaps or something for 2 minutes and was like, this ought to make him stop talking to me about this.
Sent me proof. Sent me a list of movies that have shoe the dog moments in them. Now, can you name, because I want to have a huge tangent about this, can you name a movie that has a shoe the dog moment?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Exactly. Right up on there. Now,
That's
I
my
had
first
one
one that I think of.
very specific in my head, and it was a boy, a child, yelling at like a jungle cat. And I was like, what is this? What is this? Did you ever see the movie Cheetah and Friends?
No, that's fake.
No, it's a Walt Disney movie called Cheetah and Friends, and it has one of the harshest, like, shoe the dog moments ever.
He kills the cheetah?
No, it's him just yelling, like, get out of here, go, I don't love you. And he throws a rock at it, and he throws a stick, and it keeps trying to follow him home, and they turn their backs on it. They have to make the animal think that they don't love it.
Right.
That's horrible. That's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Harry and the Hendersons, Pete's Dragon, Flipper, the ant from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like, it's a thing.
Oh, yeah, the ant. For sure.
Oh, horribly heartbreaking. Well, the kid
Are any of the ones you mentioned dogs? No.
Well, it's a shoe the dog moment because I think
shoe the cheetah, shoe the dragon, shoe the flipper, shoe the dolphin, shoe the Sasquatch.
This movie gives us a shoe the Gamera.
Yeah. Shoe the giant space turtle. Well, at that point.
He's not that giant yet, but he almost gets run over by a car, and the kid's like, well, I guess I can't get rid of you now. So,
and that's a missed opportunity. So the kid like puts it in the water at the edge of the beach. Is like, later, bro, get out of here. I don't love you. And he walks away and he waits on the street to see if Gamera follows him. And Gamera does, tries to cross the street. And there's this like very milked out scene of the turtle crossing the street and the truck coming. And I was like, the truck's going to hit that turtle and the truck is going to upend, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, how cool would that be? No, the kid fucking picks the turtle up and nothing gets run over or crashed.
So he takes him home, and the turtle's getting bigger, like real big. And he's getting big, cute eyes. And he goes to his friends who are at the skate park. And he's like, hey, you guys like turtles? And they're like, I like turtles.
I made the same joke to Kent while watching that movie.
And then he's like, hey, you guys want to come back to my room and see my turtle? And they're like, yeah. Which it's really awkward. Like when I was watching this,
you're the way you've presented the pants pulling off game and the way you're making them sound now, it's a slightly different movie than what I watched. But
well, after I knew that these kids had a perchance to pulling each other's pants off, and the kid's like, you want to come back to my room and see my turtle? And the kids are like, I love turtles. And you're like, oh no, these kids are so trusting. It's wild. So they go back, and this turtle's huge now, and they're like, well, we got to hide him. So they're hiding him. And like, we see this sort of montage of the turtle getting bigger, and he's got giant cute eyes. Oh my God, he's so fucking cute now. And we're at 38 minutes, and Toro and Toto, try to keep them straight, are cuckoo chilling. And Toro says, hey, remember that red stone you're like, I found your egg on? Because I sure didn't. I don't think anybody else in this fucking movie remembered that stone. Thanks for bringing it up. He's like, I need to give it to my flirty neighbor chick because she's about to have heart surgery. And we're like, great. Oh my God, I'm so glad we're coming back to this plot. So he gives it to her for good luck. And at 45 minutes in, we get a monster that shows up and like eats some people. We get that scene where he's chewing on people, and Toro's friend is like, oh my God, covered in blood. That kid is going to be scarred for life. Oh my God. But it's pretty fucking sweet.
I think it would make me stronger. Don't you think you'd feel badass surviving a kaiju slaughter like that? Just eating everybody?
I suppose, but it could also turn me into that annoying chick from the last movie and be like,
who controls a kaiju? Sign me up.
You're like, oh, my parents die in a kaiju accident. I get to control one later.
I feel like, and I'm not like, I don't know too much about this, but I feel like there's a Pokemon called Mew or Mewtwo. It was the bad guy in the Pokemon movie, which I've never seen, but I know what the picture looks like.
I'm so impressed that you, of all the things that you're like, is that an anime or a video game? Like, that's Overwatch, Matt. You pulled out not only a Pokemon, but like a key Pokemon. Mewtwo,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like Iris kind of looks like an up level of that.
For sure.
I would even control, if that was the one that I could control, I couldn't control a cool dragon one, I'd be like, fine, that's fine.
No, you get to control Jigglypuff. That's it.
I'd take it. But I like the little guy who was like a spiral punching guy. He was like a little purple guy with a spiral
Polywog.
thing. Yeah, it was
Polywog.
something with a wog. Some sort of wog.
There's a bunch of people who are like, your nerd cred is just being flushed down the toilet. They're like, they don't even know what movie Mewtwo is in. They don't even know the spiral punching back one.
Hey, dildos, stick to naked predators, all right?
Hey, you guys want to come see my turtles.
Youchas. You guys want to come see my Predator fan art?
You ever seen the movie Pieces? That's how that movie starts.
All right, now we're back on track in our wheelhouse here.
So this giant monster Zetas is about to fuck up these kids, and a giant Gamera shows up. And we have this awesome big daytime bridge fight, and it looks pretty good. I mean,
it looks fucking for what it is, especially. It looks great. And it's this like the what's the bad guy's name?
Zetas.
Zetas looks awesome, and he's like a full fucking dragon. And you got this little stupid cute turtle with big eyes. It looks just like the stupid baby Godzilla in the Heisei era movies. But he's holding his own. He's fucking biting him. How
dare you compare him to Manila? Because he is Minya. He is way better than Minya.
He's a better fighter, I guess, but he's got the same stupid eyes. I agree with you.
Fucking eyes. I would take him over Minya any day.
Zaius, is that what you said?
Zaius.
Dr. Zaius?
Yeah.
Dr. Zaius gets stuck in the suspension cables of the bridge and can't reach the turtle. The turtle backs up further into the bridge to be safe, and Zetas has this like yo-yo tongue that comes out and tries to stab him and is breaking through the bridge. And it's pretty fucking cool. Like, it's awesome. It's really a cool sequence.
It's really good, and it really shows off, again, great miniature work, awesome suit fighting, good compositing. They do a good job.
Good compositing and digital stuff for what it was.
Well, and like the tongue is a little bad CGI, but I'll give it to them because look, I get it. It's a hard thing to do, and they do a great job with it. Well, Zetas gets his ass tossed into the water, and Gamera holds his own. Great. The government shows up.
Toto.
You're right. Sorry,
we're not in Kansas anymore.
Gamerodo. Anyway, the government shows up and they capture him immediately, and like they take him to this place to do some science shit on him, where they're like pumping him full of blood or taking his blood out. I don't know. It's made out of like concert
some sort of
scaffolding.
Science shit.
Yeah, it looks like they're either going to have a concert or like do some science shit on him. I don't know which. Toro is in a refugee camp and hearing some heavy shit because he's like, oh my God, my turtle is the next Gamera. Man, I don't want him to die just like everything else I love. And his dad's like, well, fuck you then, kid. No, his dad's like, oh yeah, it's pretty tough, but your turtle has a bigger purpose. And it's like, that's heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
Everything that I love dies. Holy shit.
And for the rest of the movie, this kid...
Need to talk about my kid. More about this later. Thanks, Gamera the Brave.
The rest of the movie is this kid afraid that his turtle / Gamera is going to sacrifice himself. And the kid, it's a pretty heavy struggle. And there's a couple times where the Gamera's about to do something and he's like, don't sacrifice. The kid is like, don't sacrifice yourself. Don't die. Don't let yourself get killed. And it's like, damn.
And then they get a phone call. And they're like, hey, Mai's okay after heart surgery. And I was like, finally, I was beginning to wonder what was happening to that chick. And the kids are like, oh, Toto's going to need this stone. So then back at the science lab, Zeta shows up and smashes through the laboratory. It's a bitchin' cool, like miniature composite where he's smashing through. Gamera wakes up, turns into this giant battle in the streets, and shit's getting fucked up. They're tearing up buildings. Zetas is destroying Toto. There's one point where Toto bites onto his tail and Zetas jumps onto the top of a building and does like a forward barrel roll and flings Gamera Toto into a building. So his ass is just hanging out. And he's like, well, this is how I die. Yeah, this is how I die. And the kids have to do this like magical marathon where they're handing off the stone. And somehow the kids just magically know that this is what needs to be done. And like every time one kid gets stopped, like he gets stuck at a fence, another kid just sees him as like, oh, gotta take the stone, runs up, takes the stone, keeps running closer to Gamera.
Some cop stops some kid. He tosses it to another kid. Yeah, it just keeps, and it's like a very cool, fun, magical scene. And then you're like, oh yeah, all those kids' families are probably dead.
all those
kids are orphans.
Honestly, it's the better version of the, hey, Spidey, we're New Yorkers.
Yeah. You're right. It's the same scene, right?
It's the
you just
exact
need
same
to see
scene.
Thomas Howell swinging his crane over and taking that stone from one of those kids. It's kind of cute, and especially since it's the kid, the most kid-friendly version of this creature in this franchise.
Well, it certainly shows the friend to all children moment where the kids are like, we're going to help Gamera win. And honestly, when you give the human bullshit an aspect that is important to the plot, to help Godzilla win, we need to stop Mechagodzilla by dumping whiskey, which doesn't do shit. Boo! If you had actually done something, I would have given you credit, but also, who the fuck can hack Mechagodzilla?
It changed the color of the computer.
You're right. Now I'm red. It made it angry. Well, anyway, back to the movie that's better than that movie. The kids do this rock marathon. Gamera's stuck out there. The dad and the kid reunite in a hospital because the kid's looking for the girl. And he's like, I need to find the girl. His dad sees him, runs up and just slaps the shit out of him. He's like, you scared me sick. And I was like, damn, that kid got rocked. But then the dad's like, I'll help you. So let's get to the top. And so they climb up the stairs. The kid has the stone. He comes and finds Gamera.
His Gamera's like, hanging out of a skyscraper. Ass out.
And his head's just like, whoop.
Yeah, he's just like sitting there. And I was unclear whether he was stuck or was given up. And he was like, what am I going to do? I'm just fucking hanging out of a building.
Yeah.
But he's not even trying to get out.
Well, at this point, Zetas climbs up on the other tower near the building and starts tongue fucking the shit out of Gamera. Just like he takes his tongue and blasts it through him, like just spiking him, like through his gut, through his legs. He's just tearing him up from the backside. And Gamera's just like, whoop, stuck in a building.
What am I supposed to do?
I can't even fly yet. So the kid runs up with the big glowy rock thing and is like,
I was calling it the brain rock.
Brain rock. He's like, chow down, bro. And Gamera opens his mouth. He eats
don't sacrifice yourself.
Don't blow up. And he's like, all right, I won't blow up. So he pulls himself out of the building. He eats the rock and it's like spinach. Da-na-na-na-na-na.
Yeah.
Rocket starts shooting at his ass, his legs. He blasts out, flies into the air, punches Zetas, and then is like, oh, I don't know how to fly yet. And crashes into the earth spectacularly. And you're like, oh my gosh, is he dead? Zetas comes down. He's like, I'm going to fuck you up, bro. And he stands up and goes, that wasn't my rocket power. That was my fire breath power. Fires his giant fireball loogie, hits Zetas. Zetas explodes in one of the coolest, like, fireballs, just different tiers from top to bottom, just blows up into a ton of tiny pieces. Fucking awesome. Fucking great. So cool. And then the government's like, great, thanks, Gamera. Let's go back and do some science shit. But all the kids from the marathon are like, no. And they make a human barricade. And they're like, step aside, kids. And they're like, no. Friend to all children, Gamera. You can't. What are you going to do? And Gamera stands up, turns into a rocket ship and spins away. Does his frisbee thing.
Burns all the children as his rockets ignite.
I wish that would have like saved me by there. But like that's the end. And I mean, he's better than Minya. The children, as annoying as they are, they're not the most annoying children in kaiju movies. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
For sure. It was really well shot, but like it's like a sad Disney movie like Fox and the Hound, except like the Fox and the Hound don't turn into kaiju and start fucking each other up.
But if they did, I'd watch that shit.
Yeah, I would watch that shit, right? And I did the Smash score. I kept track, and it is 20 minutes out of 90 minutes. So it gave us a score of 22, which is the lowest we've had so far. Which
for
makes
Gamera
sense.
the Brave?
For Gamera the Brave.
Did you do a Smash score of ISIS? Gamera 3?
Gamera 3 got a 35. Huge.
Baller.
Yeah. Gamera 2 had a 37, which is the second highest that I've seen so far.
Right.
The highest I've seen is 43 out of 100 minutes for Godzilla vs. Destroyer. Got a 43, man. Ooh, that's heavy.
A pretty good movie. And again, I gotta check out some more Heisei Godzilla stuff. But one thing that I noticed watching all four, and almost seemed to be progressively more so, was a lot of kaiju action shot and given to the audience through the perspective of people, of humans. Again, I've been watching a lot of Showa era Godzilla. It's a lot of third person, wide camera, establishing shots for the fight. This was a lot of like man on the street angles with kaiju looming above you, especially in the last two, in 3 and 4, in ISIS and in Gamera the Brave. And I think that it changes the perspective. And the thing that I always think about with this, and I would like teach this to a class, was, you ever read Alex Ross's Marvels?
Yes. Oh, I love it so much.
I loved it, and I thought it was so cool because all the Marvel events in that book felt like Godzilla, like the Submariner attacking New York City and with the Atlanteans and all these creatures and all these robots and shit. And I was like, wow, that seems so different than when you read it in a comic book. And I later realized it's because that story is being told through a photographer, a human photographer. It's not being told from a third person point of view. Or like when you read a Spider-Man comic, he is your gateway. You're watching and learning the story through him. Even if you're not in his head per se, you're relating to him. When you relate to a person in that world, a human, it changes the whole fucking everything.
You know what it is? In a Godzilla movie, in Marvel's, it is from a perspective that you recognize. When you're on the street, I recognize on the street as a perspective. I understand how big something is when I see it next to a store, a house, a car.
Right.
I understand how big that is. When I see superheroes fight in Marvel's from my office window, like I've been in a tall office building, I understand that perspective of like looking outside and seeing like a helicopter go by, or even just like seeing down below. Like it gives you scope that you understand. When you're doing giant third person, Showa era smashy, and you're like, haha, they're smashing that city. Even in Godzilla versus Kong, the final fight was pretty wide.
Right.
That didn't feel like Hong Kong didn't feel like a real city. It just felt like props for these monsters.
A video game or something.
Into.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's very cinematic. It's a great way to show that. But I think it evokes a different emotion than when you are the man on the street.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little, when you're the audience and you're seeing it from down there, it's a little scary, right? Because it's way bigger. There's usually shit falling onto you or near you. And I think it really makes it a more human, it makes the audience feel more human watching it because you feel involved because you're literally seeing it from that point of view. Yeah. And I think that's a really cool thing that also makes these movies A, more relatable, and B, it feels like there's more on the line. You know what I mean? It's almost like Giant Monster All Out Attack. I think is the one where Godzilla is possessed.
Yeah.
You see people getting fucked up. You see what happens after a kaiju attack. And I think Gamera 3 and 4 really take that into account, where it's like, you meet this in 3, you meet this girl who lost her whole family. You watch her lose her whole family. And it's not just like a token type of story. You feel it. And in 4, you see a lot of Gamera smashing restaurants that people are eating in. And it's like, he's supposed to be this protector and a good guy and helping everybody, but also he's stepping on buildings, and they show that. They show what happens, and they show that, like, it's almost like you think about like war. I think we know that, like, theoretically, wars are supposed to stop more wars or worse things. But that still doesn't mean that wars are, like, that doesn't make the wars okay or good. Gamera is trying to help mankind, but he's fucking cities up while doing it, And I think these two, especially these two movies, but this series in general, the Heisei era series of Gamera, really show that and put you on the ground for that.
They did a good job. And it's so impactful because you feel how big this monster is. You feel how devastating this battle is. It doesn't just like, I mean, it certainly is thrilling, and they do a good job of making it entertaining, and it's fun, because that's something you got to say about like Godzilla versus Kong. It was fun. Yeah, they destroyed Hong Kong. Who cares? It's super funny and like fun to watch the big monsters fight. But Gamera tried to remind you that there are consequences to that.
Yeah.
And that took some sophistication. And we keep coming back to that word. The Gamera movies are sophisticated. And as much as I've been bagging on Gamera the Brave, if I hadn't just watched 3 of the best kaiju movies of their time, I don't think this is necessarily a bad film. It doesn't have the scope, but it does a good job, and it has sophistication. You have a kid who straight up in the first time you meet him is like, my mom's not in heaven. She's dead. Straight up dead. Ashes in a box.
And they continue that sort of like really mature storytelling. And also, we're talking about the man on the street point of view. You can relate. The same kid, in a mature, my mom is dead, and he's trying to pull his friend's pants off, and you could totally relate. It's a nice.
Gonna write that down.
Yeah, it's a sophisticated storyline where it's like, oh, these kids are really affected by these things. Pull his pants off.
Pull his pants off. Hey, you guys like Toidles? I like Toidles. Before I get too far away from the talking about the Smash Score, I gotta give a shout out. Chris Canavo, he's been joining me in the Smash Score. He watched the original 1954 Gojira, not even like the Americanized one, like the original OG. And he did a Smash Score. Rumi, what do you think? I'll tell you, it was 96 minutes. How much of that do you think? Just give me a guess. Out of 96 minutes, how much do you think of that was Godzilla smashing from 1956?
15 to 17 minutes.
33 minutes, dog.
Really? See, I mean, I believe you, and I certainly believe Chris, especially on things Godzilla. If you guys like Godzilla shit and kaiju shit, and you haven't listened to our huge 3-episode all era SmackDown with Godzilla with special guest Chris Canarvo, you guys got to check it out. It's fucking awesome, and that guy knows his Godzilla. But I mean, I love that movie, but that was always the film, the Godzilla film, the really one where you made you think. I didn't realize it was that violent, that much action.
I think they show a lot going on, and certainly there is a level of subjectivity. I mean, I stop that the second somebody's talking and it's not related to it.
Right.
But like when I was watching Godzilla versus Destroyer, like when the helicopter's circling around them fighting, even though those are people talking, at least they were close enough.
Sure.
And I would keep it running. I want to know if he considered the end when Godzilla is like being destroyed by the oxygen destroyer. Is that part of it? Because I would consider that definitely action packed. Like, oh my God, he's turning into a skeleton. I'd keep that timer running there.
Yeah, I agree.
And like,
interesting.
I could see it. Like that movie does show a lot. And when you think of like the original King Kong, which I want to get that Smash Score, there's a lot of action there.
And it's fucked. It's brutal. That movie, I've watched it recently. Brutal.
Yeah. Man, and the original Godzilla.
Not as much pants pulling off, though.
You're lucky we're not in the same room right now, Ruby.
My mom is dead. Just kidding. I'll pull your pants off.
Oh, but I do recommend it. If you guys if you're into it, this is not one to skip on. It's not one to sleep on. Don't like go in expecting it to be, like I said, it has the lowest Smash Score we have. But it's not a bad movie. It has a lot of
Brave,
heart.
you're talking about Gamera the Brave?
Gamera the Brave has the lowest Smash Score, and it has a lot of heart, though. Like, it's worth checking out if you're into the series. If you don't give a shit, probably don't put it high on your list. But I am not mad that I watched it.
Although, I got to say, of the 4 Heisei-era Gamera movies, this is not my least favorite. I have to go back and watch 1 and 2 now that I have, like, a taste for it, because I watched 2, 1, 3, and 4 in that order. But now that I am into it, I think I should go back and watch 1 and 2, probably in that order. But I liked 4 a lot. A lot. I really have to give them all another. I really got to give them all another view to really say that. And this is coming from a guy who couldn't care less about Gamera 2 weeks ago before you sent me the box set. And now I'm like respecting them.
Gamera 4 might be, to me, like if I had to rank them right now, I think Revenge of Iris is probably my favorite one. I'll put that at number 1. Mm-hmm. Wait, should we do a countdown?
The second you started, I was like, you're like stealing our own gimmick that we do sometimes.
I'll hit a mark. But all right, well, let's do it. Let's do the countdown for
live show. Anything could happen, guys.
Pull your pants off.
Right now, my wife is texting your wife. I'm only hearing half of this conversation, but it sounds like they're talking about pulling each other's pants off. Like, does Rumi have another girl in his room or no?
And
your wife is like, no.
That YouTube was going to kick us off for nudie predators. Here we are, like pulling each other's pants off.
I think that's allowed by the bylaws, the YouTube bylaws.
So yeah, let's talk about it. What's your number 1 then?
3. I think 3 is probably the best.
Okay.
Although, again, I got to give them all another good watch. I like
where
to
you're at right now. Yeah.
I would say like maybe even 3, 4, 2, 1.
3 at number 1. You're saying Revenge of
Yeah.
Iris was your favorite?
Yep.
And then
Brave would be number 2. What would be second favorite?
yeah.
Then Legion would be the third favorite.
Yeah.
And Gamera, the ruler of the universe, whatever, the fucking guardian of the galaxy. Guardian of the universe. That might be my fourth favorite. But again, I have to, knowing what I know now.
You know what's crazy is we are like, I like Legion better than Brave, but Brave is a better movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you could like a movie that you know is not as good a movie as another one.
Yeah. I think we're spot on. I agree with you on all accounts. I just like Legion better because I think the monster and the fight scenes are better. But as far as a movie, Legion has some fucked up editing in it. It's like very, very shitty, and it takes forever, but then ends super strong. Whereas Brave, again, I was never angry at watching it. Like, there's some early Gamera films and early Godzilla films where I'm like, oh my God, if we cut back to this cartoonist one more time with this kid's short ass shorts, I'm out, like done. But they kept you going. So, man, I think this is one of the quickest ones we've ever done. I agree with it on all accounts. Here we go. You want to take number 4? Or I'll take number 4 because I remember the name of the movie.
Yeah, it was called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, right? It had stupid music playing the whole time.
Yeah,
it was the one where Chris Pine was trying to pull off Benicio del Toro's pants, right?
Yeah, that's the one. And there was some sort of raccoon that just like jumped out like, bah! All right. I'll take number 4. You take number 3. I'll take number 2. And you'll do number 1.
Are you agreeing with me that 3 is going to be 3 then?
3 is Legion, yeah.
Okay.
3 is 3. What?
Yeah. Well, 4 is 4. The fourth place movie is the first movie. The third place movie is the third movie. The
Legion
second
is the
place
second movie
is the fourth movie. The second movie that was made. I don't
Legion.
know.
Okay, follow my lead. I'll hit a mark.
Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
All right, welcome back. This is the Launchpad Podcast Pulp Culture Countdown for the Gamera Heisei Era box set that we got from Arrow. Loving it. Yeah, so at number 4, we have the Gamera Guardian of the Universe. This was the first Heisei Era. It's pretty good, pretty fun. Some great smash 'em up stuff, some great kaiju action, but overall it's just nothing new, except it's very sophisticated in the way it shows some good kaiju action. It's pretty sweet. I like it. But it's not our top spot, buddy. Let's keep going up the list. What's at number 3?
Number 3 is
Legion.
Number 2,
yes,
which is Gamera Legion of Guardians of Galaxies, right? Gamera 2,
Attack of Legion.
Attack of Legion.
Yeah.
That one was awesome. I think that was probably one of the it's to quote what you just said earlier. I know that it's a good movie, but I didn't like it as much as I like some of the other ones, which might not have been as good a movie, but I like them more.
Yeah.
It's got a pretty good bad guy. It's got antagonist, a pretty good evil kaiju. Some amazing, really cool world building and miniatures and smashing.
Oh yeah.
People bullshit is to a palpable minimum.
Yeah.
And the monster costumes look great. I thought that was fun. It was also my true introduction to the Heisei series.
I love it. It has some really cool suit action. I think the explosions are great. It's got a huge smash score with 37. It's one of the highest that we've watched. Just bitching. But that brings us to number 2. Gamera the Brave, the one we've just been bashing on. It is a friend of the children. It is kind of more geared towards a younger audience, but has some really mature and pretty strong emotion in it, which I didn't expect. I didn't expect to care about these kids, but it's sophisticated. And this Heisei era brought sophistication that I didn't expect from a kaiju movie, especially one about a tusked turtle that flies out of his rocket legs.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of shit in this one that I hated. Well, not hated, but like, stupid kid bullshit. Giant Cupid doll eyes.
Yeah.
But then also like, kid talking about dead mother, kid watching family get eaten in front of him. Like a lot of that shit, was pretty baller. And I was like, I kind of like those gut punches in movies. Like when you watch Watership Down and stuff, you're like, this is a children's movie about this?
No, it's not.
At least that has this in it. You're like, oh shit. And I like that, especially like when you, like, I thought I was going into, Son of Godzilla bullshit where it was like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. And it was like, immediately my mom is dead. And I know she is dead. And you're like, oh, damn. That's kind of fun. It's a fun adventure. This for sure had my favorite kaiju, even more so, at least design-wise, than Gamera. I loved Zardoz. What's his name?
Zetas.
I thought he was the coolest design. I thought that's the kind of kaiju I like to see my hero fighting.
It was really cool. That was number 2, which brings us to number 1, Revenge of Iris. Freaking cool, man.
Yeah.
Just awesome fights, awesome monster, interesting human elements. I wouldn't say they're great. It certainly is plenty of weird bullshit. At one point, there's like a psychic teaming up with like a video game programmer. These people in this movie do not know what video games are. At one point, he's like doing like how cell structure reproduces. I was like, that's not a
You never played that game? The second one comes out in November. It's going to be awesome.
Your cell structure is dead. It was weird, but whatever. The human element was cool because it was doing that Batman versus Superman thing way before that movie existed. And the monster fights were brutal, man. Gamera got fucked up. He was bleeding everywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of blood in this series.
Yeah, which is awesome because I love the
blood.
I really like the bloody Godzilla movies, like Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla is really bloody, and I love that. Like the ones from the 60s got bloody, and then they're like, no, let's tone that shit down, friend of the children. And you're like, what? No, this one, he cuts off his own arm and impales it into another monster.
He doesn't cut it off. He fireballs it off. I don't know if that's better or worse. First of all, think of the aim you have to have. He's a fucking turtle. Proportionally, his arms are a lot shorter than mine, right? Like think about how precise you'd have to blow a fireball to burn off just this part of your arm, right?
It's like if I miss, I'm blowing this right down my leg, missing arm, leg, one of my nuts. Like it's all just.
It's not to be gross, but it's kind of like when you're jogging and you try to spit a loogie and it like you don't do well and it runs down you or hits you in the arm and you're like, first of all, gross. Second of all, how stupid do you feel? You spit on yourself. My 2-year-old son doesn't even do that anymore. Yeah, it's gross.
Because we've all done that.
I do it all the time.
Whoops. And I have a beard too now, so just.
You know what I have to say? This is the one true difference between the genders and the sexes, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, every woman is probably like, what?
Ew, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you?
You guys spit and sometimes unsuccessfully.
I'm glad that was your reference and not, so sometimes I'm at a urinal and I just can't, it's just all over my, just like, yeah.
No, I'm good with that.
Don't look at the magazines next to the toilet.
I could pee a hand off, no problem. That would be easy. I can aim that shit.
Pew, pew, pew. Oh my God, that's incredible. So yeah, guys, we bought this box set from Arrow. They have a 2-box set going. It's the Showa era, which that is an acquired taste, and the Heisei era, which is red, fucking red. So get your copy today. I highly recommend it. At least the first 3, but if you dig the first 3, you will dig the 4th one. But like I said, there is caveats to it. It's not the coolest smashing thing ever, but it has a lot of heart. So I give these movies a ton of credit. I'm so glad I had an impulse buy. I was like, I need these Gamera movies. This flying turtle.
I don't know if you ever said it. If it's not a huge, long, boring story, why did you pull the trigger on this to begin with? Where did that come from?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Call me Rumi.
Well, it started with my mom was dead. And not in heaven dead. I mean, like in the ground dead.
I was reading articles about other kaiju movies. Like I was trying to find, there's not a ton, it's this, there's Gamera, there's a couple other creatures. Ultraman's fun. I just love the tokusatsus and I love the kaiju movies. And Gamera again and again and again was like, the Heisei era Gamera are some of the best kaiju movies ever made because of how cool they were shot and the monster suits. And I was like, well, I'm down. Why not? So then I tried to look it up, and Arrow was like, haha, we released a giant box set that had all the movies for like $150, but that came out during quarantine when I wasn't spending money like that. And now they're like $400 for the full box set. So they're like, now we'll sell you 1-in-1 so you can like spend even more money. I'm like, so pissed off. So I just bought the Heisei era instead of the whole thing, and oh man, I'm so glad I do.
Does it stop? Is Gamera the Brave the last one? Doesn't it go further than that?
That's it. So in 2015, you can look online. There's a 3-minute short that was shown at like I think New York Comic-Con that is bitchin'. It is a really, really cool action-packed short of this kid being like, when I was a child, my father and I ran from the Gaios and Gamera saved me. And it's like Gamera fucking up Gaios. His dad gets eaten by one of the mutant birds. Gamera fireballs the Gaios, and their like skin bubbles and their eyes pop and they turn into skeletons and crash on the street. And like he's bitching and scary looking, but it's all CGI. And it was like, it looks great. And people are like, why didn't they turn that into a movie? And people are like, I don't know. Nobody knows why they didn't. But I think it's, the company probably had some shakeups and some mix-ups, and nobody's interested in making giant monster movies like that anymore. But they should, because it's so good and they're so cool. Just keep making them. Why not?
I bet you the company had a wag the dog moment, and they were like, go, Gamera, get out of here.
Get out of here.
Wag the dog moment. I know it's really called Shoe the Dog. And he said, get out of here. And Gamera did. And they were like, oh, we just wanted to test you and see if you really loved us.
You weren't supposed to leave. You're supposed to come back and not get hit by a truck. Come on. It's so good. I'm going back.
I'm a convert for sure. I'm a convert. I would say I would recommend all these highly. I'm going to go back. I'll watch the show when I fucking get to it. I'm not as motivated, but
yeah,
it'll be fun. Maybe
they're
Kent
not
will
as
watch
good.
them.
Yeah, they are cheesy, but like not to me, not even in the fun way that Godzilla Showa era is cheesy and fun. Like the Gamera Showa era is real cheesy.
This is more like Godzilla was for kids many times. It looks like Showa era Gamera was for kids, like for stupid kids.
Gamera. Yeah, man, real bad. And like, it is what it is, but I love it. I've been going back and watching more Godzilla now. I watch Godzilla vs. Destroya. I watch Godzilla, Terror Mechagodzilla. I've been just diving in anywhere I can see more Godzilla.
I don't remember which one, if it's the Cosmic Monster or Mechagodzilla. One of them has boobs, robot fake boobs.
Terror Mechagodzilla. Yeah.
I didn't know that until like recently when the Showa era Godzilla movies came out on Blu-ray through Criterion. I rewatched them and I was like, wait, there's kind of fake nudity in that? And they don't draw attention to it. It's not sexualized at all. They're like, let's just fix this robot girl, but have her robot boobs sitting out as well. That look like real boobs, but they look like latex.
While we're doing robot surgery on her boobs will be out for no reason. I almost got you a tiny card with that painted on there, but...
He held up the Predator card. If you guys haven't ever watched our YouTubes, check them out. There's a lot of times, I don't know about this one because this was live, quote unquote, but a lot of times the YouTube has shit in it that we don't put on the aired episode, the track episode. So if you want to watch us like with some extra funny shit that we cut out for one reason or another, but it also has the visual gags like Rumi holding up these sexy, sexy Predator cards, and he's holding them up in like little sneaky little ways.
So yeah, you can watch us on YouTube. You can also follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at LaunchpadPod, and our website, launchpadpod.com. We love hearing from you guys. If you guys are down for Smash Score, and if you want to watch a movie and keep track of like how much awesome shit is in a kaiju movie, let me know. Hit me up. Email me. Hit me up on social media. Let me know, and I will. Let me know what movie you want to watch, and I'll get you hooked up on this list. I have a Google Doc going that everybody can just kind of keep score. If you're down to watch some Godzilla kaiju movies, whatever you want, hit me up. We'll get you on the Smash Score. And then once we get like a pretty decent collection going, we're going to do a big episode with it. We'll have Chris Canavo on and we'll talk Smash Score and kaiju movies. It'll be great.
That'll be super cool.
All right, dude. Let's blast this thing off. This has been really fun. I'm really glad we got to do this. Awesome. We're the Rocketeers. We are out.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3,